What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode with your boy Phrankleen. If this is your first time, thank you for stopping by. Now, let me tell you very quickly. If you like what I'm about, don't forget to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. When you hit the subscribe button, don't forget to hit that little bell button. Okay, so what that does is it allows you to be updated when I go live on my channel and when I upload contents like this one. Okay, right. These episodes are sponsored by Sendwave. Sendwave is basically an app that you can download within the two shakes of a duck's tail on your mobile devices. It allows you to send money from Italy, Ireland, Spain, United Kingdom, United States of America to Nigeria, Ghana, Tanzania, Kenya, and Uganda. Okay, and then when you use my name Phrankleen, as it's spelled on the screen and on the channel, you get £5, $5, and or €5 added to your very first transaction. And also, the good thing is you can share that promo code with your friends and family, okay? And the beautiful thing about Sendwave is they do not charge you additional commission for sending your money to those locations, all right? You can send money within the comfort of your home from your mobile devices, and it's very easy within minutes to get registered with Sendwave. These segment is basically the story time segment, okay, where you send me your stories to my email address at foodchannel1960@gmail.com. You can look in the description below. You find my contact details in there. What's really unique about this particular story is it revolves around immigration and stuff, and I'm hoping somebody out there will be able to benefit from this, because it's very, very important that you follow this story. So before this man decided to elope and stuff with his wife and kids and come to the United Kingdom, he had managed to build a lovely 3-bedroom bungalow in Nigeria. And from my understanding, he used to work in the public sector, and then he had a small medium scale business that he was running, and then the wife as well was doing something lucrative and stuff. And the long and short was it's been on their minds that they'll have to travel abroad, and so they can give themselves, inclusive of their children, a better opportunity and stuff. So I think I remember from the email, quite detailed. He had moved up in ranks within the public sector, and he particularly had spent like 3 years, building a particular business, and the business was thriving. He made money from the business. He was able to buy a piece of land and then build a lovely 3-bedroom bungalow, which he moved into with his family. He had 2 lovely young girls. That in itself is commendable. That's a fantastic achievement for a man or for any couple or any woman out there. Now, this guy, like many of us as well and stuff, you want to go abroad. And I've said this before, can't remember what particular episode, but there was a very huge amount of misconception about life abroad, particularly by our brothers and sisters that are back home in Africa. One of the contributing factor is you have the unscrupulous travel agents. Unscrupulous travel agents that have one primary focus, and that's to get your money by every means possible. So they lie, they disseminate, misleading information. Most of them have not even stepped on the plane to leave the country, talk less of even going to your country of, your desired destination. So they haven't got a clue. They give you a pack of lies just so you part without money, and they abscond and on to the next client. What this does is it impresses on the minds of the potential travelers a lot of misconception about their destination, and then when they get to the destination, they're then faced with reality. And how do you deal with this? This is why I emphasize on make sure you do your due diligence. Ignorance is not an excuse, particularly on this side of the world. Okay, I didn't know, nobody told me, blah 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 blah. You want to travel, do your homework. Don't travel to your destination with a totally wrong visa and you expect manna to drop from heaven, some kind of miracle. So I'll crack on with this man's story. So this guy pretty much blindly made a lot of decisions. This is why I'm hoping somebody would learn from this. So in his desperate bid, he wasn't satisfied with the progress he was making in Africa. I'm of the opinion that he had a better chance to have grown his business tremendously or even made a lot more money, built more homes and stuff. He then found this guy, a travel agent, who promised to put together a visitor's visa to come to the UK for himself, his wife, and 2 children for 1.5 million naira in exchange for a visitor's visa. So that right there is the number one catastrophic failure. He sold his home, the 3-bedroom bungalow. He sold it, got rid of I think another parcel of land, got rid of the business, sold the business for a ridiculous amount of money. He put some money in the account. He then got to the UK, transferred, the amount of, I don't know how he did. His host in the UK, it gets even better. So his younger brother. The guy had told him, oh, yeah, you can stay with us and stuff, no problems and all that stuff. So he got here and then they had a spare room. They had moved things around and stuff. So he then took his younger brother's spare bank account. He told his young brother he's got some money in Nigeria, blah, 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 blah. So, of course, the younger brother must have seen an opportunity. So this man wired £25,000 from back home into his younger brother's account here in the UK and all that stuff. And again, that's another catastrophic failure. £25,000. That's a whole lot of money. And the whole idea was, it was going to help him sort out some papers so he can start working, There was a huge misconception about the system. You have a visitor's visa for God's sakes. So he then said, within a couple of months, the younger brother's wife started getting a bit funny, complaining about consumption of food and this. So he didn't worry at first. He said, no problems. He was chipping in. But the focus was on the money that they had on them, right? And then he said, okay, there was arguments about this, and they said, I don't want you, insulting my wife and stuff. And he was trying to be careful for trying to avoid any major friction or, misunderstanding, so he doesn't wreck his relationship with his brother and the brother's wife and all that. But the brother's wife was really creating this shitstorm and all that stuff. So the long and short was, he got to a point, and then the brother basically, so he was asking the brother and said, you said you know somebody that would help us put something together and set something rolling about how he would then be able to change his status from being on visitor's visa to something a lot more permanent, which is a big, big, big lie. So before this guy could figure out that he was being fleeced, he said the money was already depleting and stuff. And then it was a Sunday morning when the brother, they've got just one car, right? So they said they go to a particular church, a redeemed church that wasn't too far from their house. So the brother would take the wife and kids, drop them off, and then drive back to come and get the older brother, this dude, his own wife and kids, right? And then they would then, also drive back to church. And that's how they sort of convey themselves, because it's about 10 minutes drive. So that's not a problem. So he said they had gotten ready for church. So the guy drove off to drop his own wife and kids. And they were expecting him to, come back home. And they were waiting. So he was ringing him, are you coming back? Are you coming back? The younger brother was not picking up anything. So check this out. He then said, he told his missus that, look, since we know where the church is and stuff, let's just walk. It's not far. It's about 10. It'll be about maybe 15 minutes walk or less than 20 minutes walk. Let's walk. I don't know why it's not picking up. Maybe there's a delay or something, so that we don't miss the church service. So he walked, left home with his wife and kids, and they walked. So he got to the church. The service was ongoing. The brother was looking out. He was looking for his younger brother in the church, like what's going on and all that stuff. And he couldn't find him in the church. So anyway, they settled in and stuff. So whilst the service was going on, the service would have run for normally about 2.5, 3 hours max, right, on a Sunday. So they finished the Sunday service. He was chatting to a couple of people that they already got to know in the church. And then he was looking for him. He couldn't find him. Couldn't find his wife, his younger brother's wife and their children. And he asked someone. And I said a dude who was one of the ushers in church said, no, we didn't see them today, that we were actually about to ask you as well that, where's your brother and stuff, sir? You didn't see them. He said he left before us with his wife and kids. And the guy was like, I definitely didn't see them because I was standing by the door and stuff. Okay, what's going on here? Long and short, they then got in a taxi to take them back home. Dude got back home, met their their clothings in a bin bag. We call them black bags, like, bin liners. By the door, shoes and all them things dumped out. He realized the door lock had been changed. And the guy said it hit him like he was in a trance. He was banging on the door and he could hear people inside, and his brother opened the bedroom window upstairs and said, you need to leave, blah, blah, blah. Like, what's going on? What's going on? What's all this and stuff? And, it dawned on him that, oh, hang on, you kicked me out. What happened? This. So they must have used that misdirection that they were going to church. They knew that guy was going to come to church by himself. So they went back home. They got a locksmith, changed the locks, kicked them out. Okay, so then it broke to a massive argument. And he didn't open the door. And then they said the younger brother came through the garden, the patio door, through the garden, and said, you need to be in there. And he said, okay, you know what? In the worst case scenario, if you want me to leave and stuff, I need the rest of my money. At that time, according to him, he had about 14, nearly 15,000 pounds left in his younger brother's account. And he said, okay, like they say in Yoruba now, bangbo me, give me my money. So, I can move on, maybe go stay in a hotel temporarily, my wife and kids, and then we figure out what we do from there. And then the guy said, I can't sort anything out. I can't talk to you about any money right now. You're going to have to come back, blah, 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 blah. So he then had to call one of the pastors from the church, and the guy was just like, okay, you know what, you guys come and stay somewhere. The pastor just kept them in the place and said, we'll talk to him, and see what happens. So he said the church gave them some food to eat and all that stuff. So, but his wife was already telling him that all of this is a sham, it's a scam, and it looks like the primary target is to take that money, and he's kicked us out, and he knows that we can't call the police because we're illegal and all that stuff, because we're going to get another problem with immigration and stuff. So the long and short was, in the end, somebody from the church now came. It's like the pastor knew about it. It's just layers of complexities. They had to leave the church. This guy became stranded with his wife and 2 children. The story is very lengthy. You could see that it came from a place of pain. And dude lost everything. His younger brother, right? Now, some people might say, oh, younger brother, or no younger brother and all that stuff. But I'm actually following the journey of the failings. And this is why I keep emphasizing. I'm going to come back to the younger brother, right? But this is why I keep emphasizing. Abroad. Do your homework. If, you've managed to, you built a home, you have a well-paid job, you stand a chance of bettering your life, Africa is a place to be. I am thoroughly aware that we have our challenges and all that stuff. But don't throw what you worked so hard to build in Africa. Don't bin it overnight in the name of you want to go abroad, because you will end up biting your fingers. Don't be quick to get rid of your assets. And the worst part is you travel abroad and you end up on a foundation of illegality, which is in terms of immigration, and then very easily you become trapped in the system. Okay, things are very hard now. Like, for example, here in the UK, I was telling someone the other day, very easily, 10, 15 years or more, you'll be trapped in the system. There's no guarantee of even getting your papers or anything. The whole immigration thing is very, very hard. I know people that they've unfortunately been caught by the UK border force, and whilst they were trying to go through judicial review and through the court process to try to see if they can find grounds to remain and stuff, they were cut short, man. They were denied the full judicial process, and in the middle of the night, whilst you and I were busy sleeping, early hours of the morning, they were forced on the planes and removed. 6 hours. It's one of the quickest 6 hour flights back to Nigeria. Boom, empty-handed. There are so many of us in our community, I must say this, who are living in the shadow of the system. This system that we're living in. It's not a joke. So many of our people are suffering, are trapped. Trapped being the objective word. And one of the core problems is they are trapped. They can't progress particularly because of immigration problem. They are broke. They can't. Some would love to go back out of frustration. They would love to go back. They haven't got enough. They haven't got any savings. They haven't got money. They've got nothing to fall back upon. And the vicious cycle just pretty much hooks upon their lives. And that might easily run on the next 10, 15. I personally know someone who's been in the system here in the UK. It'll be 18 years this year. That person came here when he was 42. And unfortunately, he separated with his wife when the boat got here out of frustration for papers. Wife also went with someone, and that didn't work out for her as well, even though she had a kid it's a very complex story. And then he got here at age 42. He's been here for 18 years. It'll be 18 years this year. So what it means is that man is a 60-year-old man trapped in the system. There's no official record of his existence in the UK. And he's got no papers. I met him through someone. And I remember asking him this question. So why didn't you go back? And he blatantly said, Phrankleen, go back to what? He hasn't got money, he hasn't got anything to fall back upon. And these have shattered so many people's lives. I'm telling you, man. This whole idea of I don't care, this is why I talk all the time about people, religious nuts. You throw religiosity and you think you can travel somewhere blindly. Once upon a time, okay, and I'm not, again, this is not to try to tear anybody down. Once upon a time, some 10, 15 or more years ago, the system was a lot different from now, and people might have come in here in some type of way and somehow found a way to regularize themselves. I'm not encouraging illegality, but you know exactly what I'm saying. But right now, in 2020, at the time of filming this, you've got to be barking mad to travel to England blindly, and you would think some manna will fall from heaven in terms of your immigration status. It's a death trap. It's an entrapment that ruins the lives of a lot of people within the immigrant community. I'm telling you right now, it's a huge problem. A huge problem. Some people, unfortunately they're victims of, being misguided and stuff, and some people it's their own doing by being, shockingly ignorant. Not finding out, not doing the due diligence. They just want to travel abroad, and then they get here, the visa soon expires, and they become illegal immigrants. And then they just, living in the shadow of the system. God forbid that they're chatting to somebody on the pavement and police cars just drive past. They're constantly living in blind panic. It does nobody any favors. So that's effectively what I'm saying. That's the story. I empathize with this gentleman. Now about his brother, the brother's a right bastard. There's nothing we can do about that. There's so many sick, very evil human beings. It could have happened to anybody. But, he, himself and the wife, I feel sorry particularly for their young children. Himself and the wife are still trapped. They're both responsible. They have a joint responsibility, joint liability for the decisions they both made, which is affecting their young children as well. So, They ditched everything they had back home, which, trust me, let me end on this. And this is true story. Whilst there are people abroad, immigrants who have done well for themselves, there is also a vast amount of people that cannot even boast of £1,000 savings, that can't even boast as we speak of having a plot of land to themselves, talk less of building a home. Not because they don't want to, not because they don't like the idea, but because they cannot even afford it. That's a fact. And I'm not saying this to suggest that that makes them less of a human. It's the harsh reality of life. So if you're in Africa and you've worked hard, whatever you do that floats your boat, and you've been able to successfully do that much, don't be quick to bin everything. You know, the £25,000 that geezer, that gentleman brought to the UK in the name of you're looking for greener pasture. There are numerous people in the UK. I can talk multi-millions that don't even have £25,000 to themselves in a savings account set apart. There are people, but those numbers are very, very, very few. There are millions of people in this country, both white, black, green, blue, gay, straight, that cannot boast of £25,000. Because it's just almost impossible for a lot of people. You took that, and then you fell into the trap of a sibling that, you know, took advantage of the fact that you're illegal. From the day he knew that you had that money on you, you became a prime target, man. And then he kicked you out and you couldn't do anything. And he said the parents, the elderly parents back home, you know, they're crying and stuff. It's pretty much ruined the family. But the guy and the wife and the children are still trapped in here. You know, he's in some charities helping him with accommodation. They're running from pillar to post. He said to me that himself and the wife are trying to just save a bit of money and go back. You know, they managed to get like about 4 or 5 odd jobs between each other. Very tough, very long hours. They don't even have time for children. And he said, it's very hard, very, very hard. They're just trying to save something and return. Hopefully everything works for you, man. Please learn from this. Learn from this. Learn from this, man. It's very challenging. The basic amenities that we enjoy abroad is because they put them in place. You know, you want to charge your electricity, you pay for it. You want to pay for your water. They've built that structure, but the system is not designed to enrich you. No, just wants you to have the bare minimum to survive. That's the way it's wired. So if you then push and have your own business and try to build an empire for yourself, the system doesn't even want you to be successful, be wealthy. No. So a lot of people who are entrepreneurs or who are wealthy, who've built businesses, they've had to fight tooth and nail. But then the foundation, particularly also immigrant, the foundation that you sit upon is the fact that, you find your feet in terms of your status, you get your papers, as we call it, and then you can build on top of that. But if you come here and get trapped, there's nobody within your community that can really help you. Lawyers will fleece you, they'll take money, you can be on a waiting list for immigration departments to look at your case for the next 5-6 years. They're dancing you around. You're going to court cases. You're going back and forth. It's life shattering. Anyway, that's me done. Thank you for listening to your boy Phrankleen. I hope somebody somewhere who is contemplating on traveling abroad has learned from this. Okay, please, I ask you respectfully, think twice, do your due diligence, ask questions, investigate. I mean, if you got a bit of money to spare, you're based in Africa, at least travel, take a trip down to the destination, get a visa, travel, have a look, ask questions, investigate, check materials online, look at the immigration rules and stuff before you then decide if you then really want to go to that part of the world. Okay, but if you're really, really doing well, you've enjoyed a degree of comfortability in Africa, why would you want to abandon it? Thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit the like and the subscribe button. Don't forget to download the Sendwave app on your mobile phone. It's your boy Phrankleen. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I will definitely catch you in the next one. Peace and love. Bye now. Lastly, you can support my channel via Patreon, okay? Via Patreon for as little as $5 or $10 monthly. You can also do a one-off donation via PayPal. And also I've got Cash App. For those of you that have got Cash App, you can also support, okay? Every little helps. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for showing me love, man. Peace and love. Bye.